Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm excited to be here today. New year, new opportunities. And so today we're going to speak from the heart as we always do, get a chance to answer some of your questions and look at some of your expectations and see how we can support. Welcome again, welcome. But yeah, new year, new you, but what is the plan of action, right? And one of the things I've always stressed is to know thyself. And the more you get to know thyself, the more you evolve, right? So today I want to take us one step closer to the best version of ourselves. And what are some of the challenges and obstacles that we are facing in order to attain or achieve this lifestyle, right? Because perspective is everything. Um, I'll give you guys, ladies and guys, a quick testimony. I had a gentleman who wanted to purchase an Oracle, a Qi Coil, right? And he had been talking about it. And so when he went online to look for it, it says there was a waiting list. And he came to me, he asked me, he said, what do I need to do? And I said, go within yourself, right? And if you go within yourself, you'll find ways to achieve what you need to achieve, even though you have an obstacle. And because he believed the things I'm saying, and I tell everybody, don't believe, just put on the shelf and then leverage it. And so he asked me, what do I need to do? I said, use the current Qi Coil you have. He has a little small micro mini, and he ran with the intention. So he ran the luck and he ran positivity and some things with the intention to get an Aura coil at the price point he feels like he can afford. And so, about, I want to say, a couple of weeks later, there was an opportunity that he was able to acquire someone else's Oracle that they claimed wasn't working for them. And at first, he was hesitant. He says, is this going to work? I said, well, you manifested it. How it came about doesn't matter. Right? And so he finally invested and got the coil. And one of the first things he wanted to target was sleep. He said, man, I have not had a good night's sleep in a long time. And so I told him, I said, what has been your intention when you're running the frequency? He said, my intention has been, I want to feel drowsy and sleepy and tired. I said, well, congratulations. That's what you're getting. He said, oh. I said, you took the tool and you create the intention of being drowsy and tired. So the Qi Coil kept you up all night. So now you're tired and you're drowsy and you're sleepy throughout the day. He said, I never thought about that. I said, it's important that we look at the end results. And that's what we put our intention on. So he wanted to put me to the test. So a few days later, he told me, he says, you were right. I changed my intention to have a restful night and wake up refreshed and excited for the day. And I remember when I first saw him walking around, I said, what happened? What changed? He said, I just changed my intention and it worked. So one of the challenges that we're facing with this technology is that we are leveraging the technology sometimes the wrong way. And that's why I tell people, do not focus on the dis-ease that is happening. Focus on what exists beyond the dis-ease. That's what we need to be targeting, because this technology is not a reactive technology. Some people may be promoting it as such, but that is not how the quantum realm works. We can sell you technology, we can sell you ideas, but there are rules and laws that the quantum realm must follow. The rule says the what, the when, the where, the why, and the who is for you. The how is none of your business. And that is critical. How you achieve what you achieve is none of your business. Focus on why you want it, who you want to have that experience with, where you want to have it, when you want to have it. Put all those things together and then allow the how to manifest. And that's why we're missing a lot of opportunities here, because the how is going to guide you on what you need to let go in order to achieve that. And I'm noticing more and more as I study myself, and other people have shared their testimony with me, and we're navigating through the process. The problem begins and ends with us. How are we navigating our intention to achieve what would our desired outcome? Right? Um, Everything out here are reflections, reflections of your creation. You are the creator. I don't care what religion you may be part of, you are the creator, because in all religious contexts, they say you're a co-creator. That's correct, because you're co-creating with everybody else, but you're part of the totality. So if you understand that you out here is the main entity that's creating your reality, well, how do you program the creator? Because you are responsible for programming the creator. And that has to do with what you do to go inside. So I want to pause here, and I would like to hear testimonial struggles, right? And I want people to have this as a safe space and challenge this technology, challenge this ideas, and my idea and another idea, because if if there's a law of creation that exists, I can't contradict it. I can't challenge it. It must be absolute because the law of creation. Right? And so we want to follow the law rather than follow theory and ideas that may be subjective. And I know some individuals have texted me and said, I'm seeing tremendous transformation in my life. But I would like to just hear from you, come off mute, and just share what are some of the growth, what are some of the struggles. Because one of the things that I'm also noticing that this technology requires me to let go. Right? A lot of people focus on meditating, right? And meditating is to become neutral. This technology does not get you to where you need to go. It removes the barriers of belief system and ideas and distortions so you're able to flow to where you need to go. Because energy flows, right? It's natural, it's no resisting. But when you attach to things, you become rigid. So you're not flowing. So this technology requires you to let go. So it helps support that process of letting go and just being free, you know, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Right? You can be a butterfly and pretend like you're a caterpillar and you're stuck. But as a caterpillar, you're free to fly. Right? So I'm going to pause here, and then I want to play a video. Most of you, some of you have probably seen this video. And then I want to discuss this video because a lot of us going into 2025, I want us to navigate through the trials and tribulations, through the pain, the struggles, all those things. I want us to navigate in a way that is efficient, right? And it's effective because we want to make sure when you get to the other side, no one can replicate the process, by the way. Your achievement is unique to just you because there's so many other variables that makes you up, right? And so it's important that we hear the different testimonies so we can see how people are navigating through the process. But I want to show a video, and I want to see how relatable we are to them because we're going to see ourselves within that short video. Before I do that, would anybody like to jump in on mute and just this is a real space, right? This is a safe space for all of us. So just come out and just be you. Right? So just
Jossie,
yes, how you doing again?
how many people do you have on this meeting?
I think right now we have about 26, 20, yeah, 27.
Okay, I feel I would like to share something with you.
Hmm.
I had a chat with you a few weeks ago, probably months ago, about the issues I had with my son.
Correct.
It's very sensitive for me, but I feel like I've got the courage today to talk about it.
Before you
Um,
start, before you start, why don't you take a deep breath, right? Why don't you just relax and take a deep breath, you know,
okay.
and know
Um, yeah.
this
Um,
space. Go ahead.
well, I was having physical abuse from my son, and it was quite bad. He's 20, and I had a chat with you, a very long chat with you. I was very, very grateful to you.
Mhm.
You spent over 2 hours with me. Um, And basically, the message you gave me was, because I don't love myself, that's what my son is giving to me.
Reflecting.
He was
Yes.
mirroring me.
Yes.
Anyway, going forward, I started listening to the love frequency.
Mhm.
I started loving myself. And my son is so loving to me now. It is absolutely an eye-opener.
Excited.
I'm not kidding you, honestly. He cooks dinner for me nowadays. He's only 20. Every time he goes out, he says, "Mom, I love you." He was basically, as you said, he was showing me what I was doing to myself. I started loving myself, and he's mirrored that, started mirroring it. And I wanted to share that with everybody today.
Thank you. Thank you. And one of the things I also wanted to share, that was a great testimony, but I want you to also understand about shifting. Right? And I need everybody to understand that, right? When you begin loving yourself, the version of your son that you have now is not the version of your son that was. Okay? The version of your son that was is a figment of imagination. Because a lot of times we recall an old version because we shift back to it. Right? We still have an attachment. One of the things we need to do when we learn to love ourselves and unconditionally love the overflow of the love of self overflow to others, we shift. Now, if you're following the law of creation, right? Okay, everything is a potential. Okay, nothing is really solid. It's an illusion. It's a potential. Okay? And we call it the wave potential, the potentiality of all things possible. Right? So when you shift to a different potential, right? That means the history of your son is technically different, right? What we tend to do, because the past doesn't exist, the future doesn't exist, only now exists. The past only exists based on how we create within our mind, right? That is the canvas, the platform. So when we shift and we see another version, right, that we love, like you said, this is the version of my son that is compassionate, he's loving, and he's doing things I can't even imagine. It is important to understand he's a different expression, different being, right? He's not the same person, not one bit. Right? What you can do is continue to run the abundance. This is the time to run the abundance and run the love and keep feeding more of that so you continue to have more of that experience. However, you will be tested because the old version of your son, the other version of your son, also loves you. And that part of you that you're letting go also loves you because it's all energy, and energy is an expression, right? And so you have to say, you know something, I appreciate that experience, but it no longer serves the direction I'm going, and let it go without no judgments and attachments. And this allows you to perpetuate because the version of your son will continue to evolve that you have now as you evolve within the new version of yourself. And this is critical. And that's why this tool is important because this tool gives you access to really be able to go beyond the distortions of belief system because we believe people are bad. We believe people are, this or that because of what they have done. But what you fail to realize, it's not this or that what they have done, right? It's what you continue to hold and recreate. It is also like the physical aspect of your body. Right? I don't know most people understand this in the scope of biology. Within 3 to 5 years, your entire body replaces itself. So the question is asked, why am I carrying disease year after year? That's because you're carrying the attachments. And so the new cells get excited. What do the stem cells when they jump into the body? What must I do? I need you to make me feel sick because vibration is everything. And that's the information you're giving them. You're not literally saying it makes me sick, but your body is vibrating. I'm sick. I'm always sick. And you're expressing that. So the new cells get excited to do that for you because it wants to give you more of what you are. So it gives you the same disease over and over because you attach to it. To all my spiritual and religious folks out there, God doesn't listen to words. Okay? God doesn't hear prayers. God pay attention to your existence, your beingness, your vibration. See, anybody can pretend. See, you can't pretend with God because you're being that, right? So your vibration is what you define yourself to be. See, we can pretend to everybody, and sometimes we try to pretend to God, what we call God, the totality of all that is. God, you know I'm going through. God doesn't care, right? Because God has already equipped you. But let me give you an analogy of how God has equipped you. God has given you the alphabet in a sense. So think of the alphabet. It has all these letters. He provides the source. You can spell love. You can spell hate. You can write a whole story with those letters. You can write a book. You can write a novel. You can write 20, 30, 40, 50, infinite novels using just those letters. You can write about the past. You can write about the future. All God provides you was the source, which is the letters. So the question is, what are you doing with the letters? We're not using the letter constructively to serve us. We're reacting to people. Someone says something, and you grab those letters, I hate you. You spell it out. Someone does something to you, you grab those letters, I wish you die. I wish you burn in hell. God just provides the source. There's no judgment in what you choose to use the letters for, because it's just your creative expression. But you have the power to construct whatever story you want now. But the problem, people convince you sometimes that it's okay to look into the past, which is a figment of the imagination. So if the very cells in your body all replaces itself, and you understand, we call that sometimes generational curse, you see yourself perpetuating the same problem, you got to ask yourself, what story am I writing every day? Because God just steps back and allows you to write the story. That's unconditional love. That's the perfection of unconditional love. See, we cannot love like God in a sense, because we can never be unconditional. No one under the sound of my voice can sit back and watch their child, let's say a 5 or 6 year old, say, you know something, Dad, I've decided I want to go beat up old ladies. And I'm excited about that. And you have to sit back like, I'm excited for you too. Go do you, right? None of us gonna do that, right? You say, no, 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 no. You don't put your hands on old people. What's wrong with you, right? We got conditions, right? You might have a son that says, hey, Dad, I know I just turned 10, but I think it's time for me to move out. And I think it's time for me to get in the car and just drive off. Yeah. Unconditional love. Hey, son, I love you. Get in the car and do you. Okay. Let's see how that worked out for you and be excited about it. We don't do that. We say you have lost your everlasting mind. That's a judgment, right? We bring judgment because we don't have the capacity to be unconditional. Okay? But Source does. Source, the reason Source can do that, because you're infinite, right? And you operate within an illusion of time and space. So it's just a projection of a thought that you're experiencing subjectively. So it doesn't matter what you have in your thought, right? You can have positive, negative. And the reason God doesn't answer prayer, because if you go with intention to hurt someone or harm someone or do something negative, and God was leveraging that, then we could be very dangerous to ourselves and others. And that's why God said, what are you, your creator said, what are you resonating with? Because that is the consistency of who you are. Let me give you more of that. So let me pause now, okay, and see if anybody would like to add, take away from that, because we need to understand that as we move forward. Blessings, everybody that has just joined. Questions, concerns, jump in. Hey, Auntie, how you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you for dropping gems this evening. Gave me a lot to think about.
You're most welcome. All right.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Because I'm going to show a video here next. I'll give the opportunity for anybody else to jump in, and then I'm going to show the video, and then we will look at ourselves as it relates. Because all of you are considered pioneers, right? Because you're getting ready to start consciously creating and learning how to let go in order to create what best serves you. And to whom much is given, much is required, right? It's no longer just reflecting unconsciously, and grace and what we call grace and mercy allows you to get away with it. I call it stackables. You get all these stackables happening, and then all of a sudden, the compassion of the collective says, let's just give a little bit of that reflection and see if it will stop. And then the compassion. But when you awaken, I'm telling you, every movement has an accountability almost. This quick thought, right? Whenever I get frustrated with someone, this is the craziest thing that happens. It happens to me consistently, right? Let's say my daughter comes in and she does something. And I was like, stop doing that, right? The next thing I know, I'm bumping my head into a corner. And I would stop and say, was that necessary? Yeah. Because I needed to stop and check myself. Or I would stomp my toes. Or I would do something that's a little bit painful for me to stop and pause. So many of you may have these little small things happening because it wants to direct you back into the now, to self-reflect what you are. So you stomp your toes, don't do more of the same thing, right? Because it's to redirect you. So you'll have these redirecting happening a lot, right? And especially when you start to move in this direction, because you need to now start taking accountability for the now. And you have to be actionable, and you want to be constructive in the now. So when you get those situations, right, you can't say, well, let me jump back in and just be the old version of me, where grace and mercy is guiding me through the process. Now you now are conscious creator with this tool, right, and with your intention. So let me go to. I've shown this briefly, but I want to show it again in the past.
What is reality? Knowledge? The meaning of life? Big topics you might tackle figuratively, explaining existence as a journey down a road or across an ocean, a climb, a war, a book, a thread, a game, a window of opportunity, or an all too short-lived flicker of flame. 2,400 years ago, one of history's most famous thinkers said life is like being chained up in a cave, forced to watch shadows flitting across a stone wall. Pretty cheery, right? That's actually what Plato suggested in his Allegory of the Cave, found in Book 7 of the Republic, in which the Greek philosopher envisioned the ideal society by examining concepts like justice, truth, and beauty. In the allegory, a group of prisoners have been confined in a cavern since birth with no knowledge of the outside world. They are chained facing a wall, unable to turn their heads, while a fire behind them gives off a faint light. Occasionally, people pass by the fire carrying figures of animals and other objects that cast shadows on the wall. The prisoners name and classify these illusions, believing they're perceiving actual entities. Suddenly, one prisoner is freed and brought outside for the first time. The sunlight hurts his eyes, and he finds the new environment disorienting. When told that the things around him are real, while the shadows were mere reflections, he cannot believe it. The shadows appeared much clearer to him, but gradually his eyes adjust until he can look at reflections in the water, at objects directly, and finally at the sun, whose light is the ultimate source of everything he has seen. The prisoner returns to the cave to share his discovery, but he is no longer used to the darkness and has a hard time seeing the shadows on the wall. The other prisoners think the journey has made him stupid and blind and violently resist any attempts to free them. Plato introduces this passage as an analogy of what it's like to be a philosopher trying to educate the public. Most people are not just comfortable in their ignorance, but hostile to anyone who points it out. In fact, the real-life Socrates was sentenced to death by the Athenian government for disrupting the social order, and his student Plato spends much of the Republic disparaging Athenian democracy, while promoting rule by philosopher kings. With the cave parable, Plato may be arguing that the masses are too stubborn and ignorant to govern themselves. But the allegory has captured imaginations for 2,400 years because it can be read in far more ways. Importantly, the allegory is connected
So I'm gonna stop there.
developed in Plato's other dialogues.
I'm going to stop there and I'm going to ask for reflection. Okay. What did you get from the allegory? Anybody would like to jump in? What did you perceive? Go ahead.
I don't understand why you went into my life and just showed my story.
Okay.
At age 76, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of changes. I've been the person who was shown something different than the shadows against a world that wanted to beat me up because of it. So that was quite interesting. I've never read or heard that story of Plato's, whatever the name of it was, I forgot. That's
The allegory
interesting.
of the cave. Go ahead.
Yeah, the allegory of the cave. That is awesome. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Anybody else? Just jump in. Roderick said,
Yeah, hi, I'm
yes.
Mia.
Hey, Mia.
I enjoyed it. I'm a neuroscientist.
Okay.
So I've been reprogramming brains and mindset for like 28 years.
Yes.
But I was about 10 when I started studying philosophy.
Yes.
So it was nice to see social media and probably AI, whoever designed the film, try to help people understand, because if you tell somebody programmed you and tricked you to be ignorant and stubborn with a view that they're holding on to, while at the same time they're asking for the opposite result in their lives, then they would be attacking and defensive. I always call it zombies, right? Or like I used to do a whole class called the zombie antidote, right? Because they attack you. Like I've been in that class like 20 something years, because the person who programmed them to accept that they are less than soul also programmed them to attack anyone who comes up against the programming.
Okay.
And if you don't study philosophy, or if you study it but you don't understand the great philosophers, then I haven't seen it shown better than that little clip, because then people can kind of sit and go, oh, they were, as opposed to, I am or I was. They're able to go, oh, those dudes in that clip, which will unwind some of the stuff that's in their subconscious and help them be able to listen. So it's very nice.
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else would like to share? Just come off mute.
Hi, Jossie. It's me,
How you
Zuli.
doing? Bless
I'm
you.
fine, thank you. Jesse, Happy New Year to you. Congratulations. I haven't heard from you in a long time. I'm sorry I wasn't able to, but here I am today. And that allegory can be applied to centuries and present day 2025. And we can all, this is an opportunity, us here where you're speaking and raising our frequency. So some of us are able to escape that cave. But it's hard because it's sort of like it's hard for some people, but now I'm getting the message and I don't dwell on it, and I'm not dwelling on what politics anymore. I'm not into that game, so I'm shutting off. I help people get out of the cave, but at a certain point I'm still there in that lower frequency where they want to be, and I say to myself, I'm evolving and I'm raising my frequency, and I want to be where you are and all these people are to move forward.
Yeah. I would like to add a little bit to the allegory that the clip didn't clarify, right? One in part of the allegory, there was no chain. Right? The chain was part of the mind. It's the mind that locks us in, right? And then also the allegory talks about the one person that left because they felt disconnected, because they were still attached to physical. They felt disconnected. They went and just sat next to the chain folks, or the folks that pretend to be chained, and just blended in with them. And that plays a role in our lives because sometimes we're awakening to aspects of ourselves that is higher, and we find ourselves suppressing that in order to align with people, places, and things. Now, the force that you saw, that was the force of attachment reflecting, right? Because the the conviction of what people see is just as powerful as the conviction, because this is all an illusion, right? And that's the part
Yep.
that, this is all an illusion. So I have my illusion, you have your illusion, and you telling me your illusion is more important than my illusion. Where are you coming from, right? And the illusion becomes more solidified when you attach emotions and ego to it. Oh my God, it becomes so solid, like rock solid, right? That you can pick your emotions and throw at somebody and they'll have a concussion. Right? So when you see that aggressive nature, it's because they have solidified those creative expressions by attaching their emotions, their belief system, and their ego to it. Right? And so they're bound. I think it was 2 shows ago, I talked about being tied. It's like you have your left hand, your right hand tied, right? The left is your ego, or your ego and your belief system that's pulling your left, and then you have the right side, and then you have the right side, belief system and ego and emotions on the left, and then your belief system and your truth is on the right, right? And so you're holding on to these things. You refuse to let it go. If they're pulling you in opposite direction, there's nowhere for you to move forward. Right? And so that is the bondage that we sometimes get stuck in. Now, how does that play with the technology? When you bring the frequency, you begin to see your hand, because you believe in your hand. You're not looking left or right because you don't have sight. Right? You just feel, and the feeling is a figment of imagination. You feel the grip of the pull. So you believe in all of your might and mindset that something is attached to you, pulling you. Right? So when you run the frequency, you begin to feel free. And that's the great thing. So when you begin to feel free, you begin to move your hands and you begin to say, well, there was nothing there because there's no mark, there's no evidence of something being there. It's just been me all along. And why did I say that? Because we had an amazing testimonial with an amazing individual who, when she and I was talking, all I heard was her lack of worthiness to exist and to feel valid and to feel important. It was always chasing something that she believed to be more. Why neglect it? And that's an inferiority complex. And if you have an inferiority complex, you will reflect a superiority complex because it's opposite. So now somebody got to come and dominate you because you hold on to that belief system with your emotions and all of your might. And that person is a creation by you. Right? So in the allegory, when we become free, it is important to embrace what we see, right? To not judge. It's not to go back into the cave and judge the attachments that are there because we become attached to it. You know, you saw the violence, you saw the attack, you see all the different things. That's a reflection of the opposite of being free, right? The resistance of that. So I'm sharing that with you because as you begin to move forward, it's going to all be about how you let go. Okay? This is not healing. So if he was tired and he was thirsty, right, or he was starving and there was no chain there, and he becomes free and he have an abundance of water and food, right? Why is he still going back into the cave? Because the reflection says, go save somebody. See? So that's what it does. And that's what your ego and your emotion says. Now you're saved, you're free, right? You're sanctified. Sometimes we say in a religious context, you're sanctified, Holy Ghost, fire baptized, dipping, diving, and swimming in it. Now go save other people. somebody to save. It's to just have the best experience. So get those things that best serves you. And to share a testimony as the same testimony, about 6 months ago, before I really started training to know myself, and I had a distortions even in my own relationship. Yeah. My wife and I went to counseling services, and the counselor, ready for this, told me, you and your wife are toxic for each other. Run away from each other. Right? Because I was looking for her to change, and she was looking for me to change, and no one was going inside to change. And when I started running frequency, I stopped looking outside. My wife is my best friend right now. One of the most loving person that I cherish right now. Not because I try to change her, because I started going inside me and transforming me in order to vibrate on where I need to be. So I started to visualize. Now, I'm gonna tell you one of the hard part about that, right? When people do you dirt, or you believe people do you dirt, it's hard to let go. I had to sit there. One time I was sitting there and I was meditating, reflecting. And I said, I got to see her not doing that. Oh, hell no. No, I don't know if I can do that. Right? And the soft voice says, you got this. Go back and see her not doing that, because what you perceive she did is a figment of your imagination. And plus, you reflected that. What lesson did you learn? So I had to sit there and go back inside. And I'm running the frequency to help you. I'm running luck. I'm running positivity, because it's helping me overcome me. It's not helping me fix the problem. It's helping me overcome me so I can vibrate and attract what I desire. Because that's what resonance is, right? When you begin to vibrate, you send the signals out there, and people, places, and things conspire to align with you based on your vibratory expressions. And I began to visualize that everything that had happened was of my creation. And I began to see my insecurities. I began to see my lack. And I began to fill that with love. Every missing component or aspect of my life, I began to fill it with love. I began to love myself unconditionally. And what that did, it allows me to overflow that love to her. And I no longer see her less than perfection. And I began to pour and give her space and give everybody else space to just be the best version of themselves, because as I'm reflecting it, it's something that I needs to heal within myself. There's some area of lack in myself. And the brain, I know we have a brain specialist, but what I also discovered, and I discovered this through downloads and also some other things I've shipped in multiple different aspects of reality. Right? The brain is a multidimensional antenna that draws you into a multidimensional aspect of yourself based on where you are. It's infinite version of you, right? So when you vibrate, the brain begins to create the signal of where you need to go. And then opportunities and doors begin to open, right? The goal is to not try to do it yourself. And here's the reason, and it's the rationale, right? Sometimes waking up in the morning and wearing a certain colors take you on a different path. Sometimes waking up in the morning on a different side of the bed takes you on a different path. Sometimes getting up in the morning and not doing stretches take you on a different path. Doing the stretch take you on a different path. Because there's so many infinite variables that guides you, you cannot have control over those things. Right? So what you want to do is trust the divine or the universe or the field to guide you. So you will get up in the morning and you will feel inspired to wear blue. You don't know why. Everybody else is wearing red, black, purple, pink. You wearing blue. That's me, right? Everybody coming, oh, today we're dressing up in red and black. I'm showing up in pink. What's wrong with you? I'm special. And that's it. I just move on, right? I don't have no judgment, because I'm moving based on how I was inspired, right? Or I'll get up in the morning and wear a particular type of shoes. I would move a certain particular way. Now I'm just being inspired to move. There is no rigid conviction to what I need to do. Right? And I say this because some of us, when we get that rigid conviction, I need to get up in the morning, I need to do this, I need to do that. You create distortions because you limit yourself. Right? Be inspired to move and do those things, not set them as responsibility, because then you're limiting yourself to that. Like, I have to get up in the morning, I have to drink my coffee, then I have to do this. No, you don't want to limit yourself. I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't have to do nothing except just be amazing. Just be. You're infinite. We're not being. We're trying to control the flow. And energy cannot be controlled. When you try to harness it, become destructive. Destructive self. Just like the atom, if you try to harness it, it becomes an atomic bomb that's destructive. It's never meant to be harnessed. Anytime we try to harness nature, it can be dangerous, right? So everything we try to harness sometimes can be toxic, because the nature of trying to harness the flow of things can be destructive, because that's too much power to try to contain. That is the power that you want to tap into to guide you. And that power will take you to wherever you desire to be. It will move people, places, and mountains out of the way to get you there. Don't worry about how you get there. Just know you're going to get there, because the force is in everything. As they say in Star Wars, the force is within you. I believe that's what it said. Right? So we're going to say the Qi is within you. All right. So that's what this technology is all about. Allowing you to relinquish control. And this is a phenomenal thing, right? A lot of my belief system has melted away. And my need to control, I had this idea. They used to call me, they say I have the Messiah complex. I wanted to save everybody and save the world. Now, I don't do that anymore, because there's no one to really save, right? Because if this power exists in all of us, then the goal is just to inspire people to understand what is within them and allow them the opportunity just to be. Because no matter what is happening, and I saw a picture of this that also moved me. There's a fire that's happening right now, I believe, in California. And there was a house that was untouched. I don't know if this is real, but I was inspired by the picture. And everything around it was burnt up. What were they vibrating on? Right? What was their acceptance? What was their truth? And why no one else had that truth? And that was what was going through my mind. But then I realized none of my business, because I wasn't affected by it. So therefore, I was far removed from it. So I guess I'm on a good path. I'm on a decent path, right? Not to say the people that had sacrificed is not. I don't show compassion for that. But at the end of the day, those are just things, right? And I hope even when someone lose their lives, there's infinite other version of your life that you can express again. So for me, I just go back to those letters and say, what do I need to spell? What story do I need to tell to allow me to keep moving to the best version of me, right? Pain may not get me to the best version. Sorrow, sadness may not get me there. So I'm going to use those frequencies to allow me to have the space to move to the place I need to be. And all of you have access to that. You will start to let go of belief system, and it's okay. Okay? It's okay to let go of the people, places, and things that may be tying you down. Because when you let go of them, another version of them appear. Just like the young man, that's a different version that appear. That will love you in a way that you can't even imagine. Right? Hold on to that. Run the abundance in that moment so you get more of that. Feed your intention in more of that. And that's the message with this device, the message with this technology. Let's equip ourselves and let's empower ourselves. Right? Any question, concerns? Anything anybody would like to add? Also, there's a question online. Marty Davis says, how do you choose which frequency you use? And how many individual programs do you use to create your own custom program? I love the way you teach us with this technology. Right? So love is always the center for me. So I will run heart. The heart always guides, right? The most intelligent organ in the body is the heart. It's not the brain. The brain is just a quantum program. The brain is actually stupid, right? When I say stupid, not in a negative way, the brain is just a reflection of programs. Right? Right? So we don't want to say everybody's walking around with a stupid brain. That's not what I'm saying, right? Neuroscience, those neuroscientists are getting mad at me, right? So the brain is not the intelligent force, right? Because the heart permeates everywhere, right? It expands, right, and contracts, right? The brain just sends out the signal of where you're going to go, how you're going to shift in different things, right? Intelligence, even the idea of intelligence, the brain doesn't learn, the brain unlocks, right? That's why they said we only have 5%, but it's not 5%, it's 0.0000000, almost to the infinite percent of what we have unlocked in this physical expression, right? When the brain begins to unlock and unlock potential, right? Some of you are waking up with wisdom, you don't know how you got it. That's an unlocking, right? You didn't learn it, no one taught it to you. It just unlocked and was available to you. So the brain doesn't learn, the brain unlocked, and then the experience, because some of you may be aware of the Akashic records, right? Everything under the sun exists. We can define it as the Akashic record or all that is, but those records already exist. There's nothing new under the sun. We hear that. All exists, you just have to unlock it and have access to it and allow this technology to help you with that. So what do? I run love first, get myself centered, right? And try to feed more of that. Then I do the luck, right? Because for me, my definition of luck is to shift. So the luck frequency helps me shift. And when you shift into another perspective. So I want to see those shifts and I want to study those shifts. What am I doing? What am I aligning with to see those shifts? When I see a little shift, I need to understand what it took to get that little shift for me, right? So what was my belief system like? Or what am I still holding on to? And then I go back and work on me and let more go. And I see a deeper shift. I say, oh, I like this, right? So I'll give you an example. I've had vertigo in the past, right? And I had vertigo when I had it with my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter, right? Because I would rapidly move and the things in the ear, the crystals in the ear kind of get out of whack. And so I have these dizzy spells and it was terrible. So here recently, my son has been reactive every 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So I'm reacting. All of a sudden it happened. But I had a different experience. I was still loving towards my son. I didn't have no distortions to it. I was still loving. I would kiss on him, even though I had that. And it could have been triggered by him, but I loved him. Right? And because of that, I never struggled through the process and it was able to fade away. And this is like, exercising, different things like that. But the solution is always there. But when things happen, is to let go. And I think in that instance for me, I was being tested to see, do I hold on to things that I reflect, right? Do I hold on to problems that may come up and creep up? No, I just accept it, embrace it, and say it is what it is until it becomes something else. And then I run the frequency and be consistent with the frequency. So I encourage all of you, test the frequency. Not all of them. Test one that you see consistency, how it impacts you, and run it a lot. Because as long as you're hydrated, you're fine. Drink some water and just run it a lot. Run it 24/7. If it's next to you, just have it next to your bed or whatever. Just run it till you get to see how this is moving. Because it's going to be a roller coaster ride till it levels out, and then you will see. And if it's health and wellness, if you let go of the detachment of the health issue, you will see a roller coaster ride, the pain, and it will just all of a sudden dissipate. You all of a sudden will feel, because when you're going through this roller coaster, you can endure the pain, right? The pain no longer excruciating to the pain to where it shuts you down. So you have the experience of the pain because the pain loves you. The pain wants your attention. And once the body says, I need you to have this old attachments. And you're like, no. My body transformed in 3 years and I need to get to that next level. Right? But you have this roller coaster ride till you learn to let go of the attachment of that pain. And then all of a sudden you wake up one morning, I have no pain. Because again, this is what the frequency is going to do, right? The frequency will inspire you to move towards different locations where people, places, and things will conspire to heal you. Case in point, the Qi Coil that this young man bought, I was curious to speak with the lady who was selling it. And I got on the phone with her and I wanted him to hear it because he was freaking out. She said, I don't believe it worked. I tried everything with the Qi Coil and it didn't work. And then I turned to him, I said, what is the purpose of the Qi Coil? He said, to inspire you to move in a direction. And I said, and I asked the lady, how long did you run the Qi Coil? She said, for months. And I asked her, what happened after you ran it? She said, nothing, because she was waiting for the Qi Coil itself to do its job. But the job that the Qi Coil was doing was to inspire people, places, and things to be attracted to her. And guess what? She said she came across another technology that she used to get rid of her problem. Qi Coil did work. It did its job because she was inspired to be able to vibrate on what is necessary. And so she's got rid of the problem, but now she lost a valuable tool because that tool works in so many aspects of your life. It's not just the physical aspect, but the emotional, the psychological, the spiritual. And so she limited herself now. Don't miss this opportunity because you don't see a direct reflection, but I promise you, you'll begin to see the pull of people, places, and things that will come towards you, not because of your direct will to change and move people around, but the whole entire totality of all that is will conspire because you're following the rules of vibration. You vibrate, I must pull those vibratory expressions towards you. That is a law of creation. Anybody would like to jump in? I know I'm asking for questions, and I know it can be sometimes. Sorry if you feel like I'm doing a lot of talking. I just want to make sure, some of you may feel like, Mr. G, I'm not ready to talk, but I want you guys to talk, and I don't want to feel like I'm doing all the talking, right? Because then I'm doing all the learning. I don't mind doing all the learning because learning is fun, right? All right, Auntie, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I just want to thank you for sharing the information about letting go of the attachment. That is key and that is awesome. So I watch people, and including myself, meditating for a certain thing, even using the Qi coils. I'm meditating for raising my vibrations to assist my awakening of the third eye and all that. And your words this evening let me know that I'm still holding on to the attachment of the lack of that. And I really already have it. I just need assistance. The attachment is very important. Thank you.
Yeah, the attachment solidifies you where you are, right? You can't move till you let go of that attachment because you already been unlocked. There's multiple doors that's opening for you. You can't walk through because you bound yourself to this moment in this time and space. And so this time and space moves forward. Right? It doesn't move in any other direction. So you find yourself trapped, moving through on the same path, right? Just on a different roller coaster.
Yes.
So when you detach, you become flexible, just like in the allegory, he turned and started to look left and right. Sometimes you have to do a 360 turn. And if you want to be right, some of you out there want to be right. If you make the same right turn all the time, I want to be right, 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 you're just going to go in a circle. Right? Sometimes you have to make that left turn. Sometimes you have to step back. Sometimes you have to go forward. You have to be able to be flexible to do whatever it takes in order to move you to the direction you're trying to go. So that attachment. So 2025, your work is not to fix nothing out there, but to let go. Let go. Take a deep breath, relax, let go. Whatever tools and resources you have available will compound, will multiply to help you let go, as long as you run those frequencies. And be open. Qi Coil is like no other technology. It's not a healing technology. That's a reactive technology. It's an expansive technology. It expands you by creating opportunity for you to vibrate on what is best for you. Because someone can get healed and it will come back, oh, it healed me. But you may have ate something. You may have done something else that was inspired to allow you to do that. So somebody else go and replicate exactly what you did. I ran this frequency, I ran this frequency, I ran this frequency. And, well, it don't work for me. The Qi Coil must not work. No. If you pay attention, it's going to inspire you to move in a different direction. Now you have a choice to let go and move in that direction. Detached. 2025 is the year of detachments, so you can fly. You're no longer in the cocoon. You already experienced your metamorphosis. Use the wings because you already struggled. You went through the struggles already, right? You broke free, but now you're stuck on that one leaf pretending to be a caterpillar. You're not. Look around, see your wings, trust your wings, and fly. All right. So I would like to end there. Right. Love you guys. We will continue next week. I'm here. We are here. We're family. And we're going to evolve together and we're going to heal together and we're going to transform together. So that way we have the best version of our lives. I feel something great is coming for this family. So let's continue the journey, run the frequency, set the expectations on what you want at the end, and be free to just glide through the process and just allow the universe to take you and be open to loving people, places, and things, no matter what. Yes, Lee.
Hi,
Young Lee.
Jossie.
How you doing?
I'm new here. I'm new here, and I'm so I want to respect your time too. But just really quick question: do
Yes.
your workshop build on top of each other, or is this or does every session have a different topic?
Both. So the workshop is on YouTube. So I suggest
Okay.
go to YouTube, type my
Uh-huh.
name, and it's in there.
Okay.
Jossie Galliza. You will see replays.
Okay.
Just trust which one. I went back and I watched mine replay, and it's like I was watching another human being do it. It was the craziest thing, right? I was laughing and smiling like I was a kid in a candy store watching me
Okay.
talk. So go back and watch it and then see which one inspires you and then go to another one. But
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, this I try to allow this to be free flowing. So that way the universe comes in because everybody sometimes want me to preface what I'm going to talk about, but then I'm not,
Right.
and I don't want to create a PowerPoint presentation. I want the energy of the totality of all of us to be part of that. Right? So,
Right. Okay.
so
Thank
yeah,
you
go
so
back
much.
go
It's
back and
truly
check it out.
inspiring. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for your time. I'll definitely go look up those other workshops and take a look at it. And I'll continue to come join here too, just to hear your stories and other people interact is truly inspiring. Thank you so much.
Please, y'all be amazing. Y'all be loving and go out and soar. I love you guys. Y'all be amazing.